Tonya J. Powers from Fox News standing by right now. Good morning, Tonya. Good morning.
She's lonely.
I'm not sure. Maybe she can hear us that way. Try it this way. Yep. Good morning, Tonya J. Powers from Fox News.
Okay,
Good
I was
morning.
feeling really cut off there for a minute because there's like no sound.
Nothing. Yeah, sorry.
And I thought, okay, are they trying to prove a point about my story? I mean,
Did you feel a little bit lonely for just a moment?
I actually did for a second. Yeah.
Well, good morning. And apparently, we're talking about an epidemic, and the epidemic is loneliness.
Yeah. And this is an actual thing. This survey that was done, they talked to 20,000 people, 18 and up, revealed some very interesting things. And before you dismiss it as just hogwash, listen to some of these numbers.
So
it's interesting.
You're automatically assuming that I'm going to think of this as hogwash. Well,
okay, maybe I did. Okay, all right, that's fair. That's fair.
So before we pass judgment here, we should listen.
I've already passed judgment on your passing judgment, so shame on me. Right. Nearly half of the people who were polled report they sometimes or always feel alone or left out. 1 in 4 rarely or never feel as though there are people who really understand them. 2 in 5 sometimes or always feel that their relationships are not meaningful and that they're isolated from other people. Americans who live with others are less likely to be lonely. Before you say duh to that.
Right.
That doesn't apply to single parents / guardians. Their average loneliness score is 48.2. Even though they live with kids, they're more likely to be lonely. Generation Z is the other one I wanted to mention. Adults who are 18 to 22. And, by the way, it depends on which definition of Generation Z you're looking at. Sometimes it goes a little younger than that.
Yeah.
But for their purposes, 18 and up was their survey. That is the loneliest generation and claims to be in worse health than older generations.
You know, if you're a parent, the one thing that you always fear is that your kids maybe they're not popular, they don't have a lot of friends, or maybe you have a child that's kind of quiet, and you fear that loneliness for your kids. And I wonder. And it all begins, I think it begins in kindergarten. Some kids can be very, very mean. You see it.
Yeah.
I used to help out the kindergarten gym class, and kids pick it out very quickly. The kids who look different, the kids that are a little heavier, whatever. The picking on begins immediately, and I imagine that could lead to some loneliness. But you're saying this loneliness continues right on through into adulthood.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's got to be social media. I mean, you see people on, they've got tons of friends, or they're hanging out with, you think you're friends with them in high school, and then 4 or 5 of them go out to the bowling alley, and you're sitting at home.
Well, I don't think social media has anything to do with this per se. Do you?
I'm saying for that 18 to 22 range.
Absolutely do.
Okay, Tonya?
Oh, I get to be the tiebreaker. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think to a certain extent it might, and here's why. Because remember the first thing I said back here, which was, besides the hogwash remark that you won't let me forget, the feeling left out.
Yeah.
Now think about this. When you're looking at Facebook, you're getting up, your alarm's going off at 2:30 in the morning.
Sure.
So you can get to work and, entertain the rest of the world and inform everybody by, 6. And people are posting, pictures of their wonderful vacation and wherever that,
right. And you don't get you're not experiencing those things.
No, you're not. And to some extent, I think people do feel like, wow, I'm missing out. I should be doing all these cool things. I mean, the things that don't show you are, all the bad things.
Right.
Which is why I think my favorite Instagram posts are the ones where, people have these massive, like makeup fails
I do.
Everything's going wrong for once. And I'm like, that's life.
I do have, I think that probably social media intensifies this a little bit. If you're really big into social media. But listen, we've all gotten that letter at Christmas time. Just wanted to update you on how the family's gone.
Goodness.
Oh, man.
Those are the worst, right?
Bobby's now a doctor making $100 billion a year. Just graduated from some major university out of London. Come on. I don't want to read all this stuff about your family. And it does make you feel like, well, we don't have that life.
Well, yeah, but I think sometimes it's, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't mean to be like the curmudgeon in the group this morning, but it seems like Facebook is one long Christmas letter.
Yeah, it really,
it's
really
like a Christmas letter that never goes away.
Yeah.
Yep.
And nobody does the Christmas letter I'd like to do. Like, Bobby was just charged with DWI. We're having a tough time paying the bills. The dog died. I mean, how about some reality here?
The link to the GoFundMe for the legal defense.
And none of that is on Facebook.
We're having a bake sale outside the Walmart this week. If y'all can come help, that would be awesome. I mean, all kidding aside, it would be nice to know that people are leading actual, real lives and not just, everything is not a wonderful, cup of coffee and a blanket kind of picture. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I do. Yep.
So some social commentary here. I also think that the nanny state that we are in, where everybody is always getting screwed by someone or something, I think matters. Did you say that the generation of 18 to 20-something thinks they're in worse health than seniors?
Well, comes to loneliness.
Hang on a second. Let me get the exact wording of that. Worse health than older generations. I'm assuming they mean mental health.
Mental health, yeah. When it comes to this loneliness,
I'm assuming they mean that, because you're right with the general overall health. No, that would be quite the argument.
Am I the only one though that's thinking this differently? I mean, everybody's flocking to social media and the whiners and we feel so privileged, and everybody's complaining the woe is me. What about the people who really are loners and they don't want to be? The person who doesn't look the same, the person who doesn't have that social personality that nobody wants to be friends with, and they're lonely. And I think there's a whole element of those people out there that you have to feel for a little bit.
You do. I mean. And you bring up the social media thing, and I'll say this, and then I got to run to a live hit at the top of the hour in a few minutes. But the fact that when we see some of these things where people are lonely and they are marginalized or they're bullied or they're whatever, and people on social media, the outpouring of support for them,
right? So there's good there too.
It's not all bad. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, we forget that you have a job to do, so we'll.
Look, this is my job, and they just keep me around for live shots. But my real job is getting to talk to y'all every morning.
Well, you weren't lonely in the last 10 minutes. I'll tell you that. You had us.
Never am when I call y'all.
That's right. All right, Tonya. Thank you so much.